Celadon, Lady Light, and Noilopa were walking down the beaten path, checking for mines left behind by the light green demons. As they walked, Celadon kept looking around the area, taking in the fresh breeze. Noilopa smiles. So, Celadon, why did your race never go outside other than the mines being there? She asked. He stops for a moment. In the green domain, there's a law that anyone under the age of 18 can't go out the bunker. It's been like that for 85 years, he said. Lady Light smiles. I remember something. You were really young around this time, but I remember you went outside when you were 10 years old. Of course, your father Calhoun got a hold of you, and you were grounded that day, but... How do you know that? I'm a goddess. I see all. I remember all. Okay, strange, but interesting, I guess. There was then something rumbling. Lady Light and Noilopa look around. But it was then they realized the rumbling was not that of an earthquake, but rather just someone's stomach. Noilopa turns to Celadon. I suppose we've been walking for a fair bit. You want to stop and eat? Sure, but what is there really to eat, he asked. Lady Light sees a small campsite nearby. She then says, I doubt anyone is over there. You want to stop there for a moment? There was plenty of food in a storage crate nearby the campsite. Noilopa opens the crate and finds some sausages, fresh apples, some MREs, and some marshmallows. As they roasted some sausages by the fire and warmed up some MREs, Noilopa sits down by Celadon. Celadon then asks, so, what's going on in the other domains that I'm supposed to be worried about? Well, a lot. Light Green Domain is essentially fighting itself. Indigo Domain's going through a blizzard. Orange Domain is going through a meteor shower. Red Domain's being hunted down by these black, shadowy worm creatures. Yellow Domain has a bit of rivalry going on with the sibling heirs. Purple Domain is going through some curses of some kind. Blue Domain is going through a mineral shortage. And lastly, the Pink Domain is missing its blossoms on its trees. So, where do we start? The Pink Domain. I feel if you go to the Light Green Domain now, you'd have less of a chance of surviving over there than the Pink Domain. So, who's the heir I need to look out for over there? Noilopa smiles. Her name is Betsy. She's a pretty nice girl. I think you'll really like her. He then eats a sausage. As in, like, platonically, or like... She giggles. Lady Light smiles and eats a little bit of the MRE. Whatever you're comfortable with, dear. Celadon smiles. He then sees someone walking down the path. Another green demon like him. Hey, what are you doing here? The green demon asks. She has a horn adorned with orbs, and she's wearing a safety jacket with a name tag that says Anzin. Anzin, you're the Upper Green Domain security guard, right? Celadon asks. Ah, Celadon, sir! Something happened with my friend Keegan. Keegan got captured by the light green demons overnight. Lady Light thinks for a moment, and then says, Light Green Domain. She only has a year until she's executed by the light green demons. What's happened over there? He asked. They have been overtaken by rivalings, and their minds have been so corrupt that nearly the entire domain has been taken over by them. That's why I said this mission would take nearly a year. Noilopa responds. Anson looks worried. I hope you can make it under a year. I missed her already. Noilopa gives a warm smile. Anson, dear. We'll make sure that she comes back alive. I can promise you. The sun was setting, and the four were talking about the various domains and the mission. So, during your journey, you are going to be dealing with rivalings. They're a very hostile species my brother has brewed up for years. And what do? They love corrupting the minds of demons, and they can morph their bodies the more of them there are. They love to throw their opponents off guard by disguising as someone they know. But they're usually distinguishable by three things. Unfamiliarity with who the said person was or who their opponents are, cream-colored eyes with red irises, and their unnaturally sharp teeth. Anson then says, I haven't seen any climb past the wall. We've had this wall for longer than 85 years, and it's been extremely good at keeping out rivalings. That's a good thing. We should be able to get a good night's rest before we head out to the Pink Domain tomorrow. Anzen, can I ask you something? Where's the way to the Pink Domain? Oh, so in order to head to the Pink Domain, you need to take the tram to there. It's past the wall, but if you keep heading straight, you should see a platform for said tram. Thank you, dear, Lady Light says. Later that night, everyone was sound asleep in the camp. Celadon takes a peek out from the tent, and he sees the green, starry night sky. He was astonished by how many stars were out that night. It was a clear sky all night, and he could see the moon from the trees. The next morning, the young prince and the two hooded figures continued pressing forward until they reached a big giant wall that is made of steel. It has marks from various blasts of explosions and bullet indentations. Anzen, who was trekking alongside them, opens the large gate by pushing it forward. Along this way is the outer upper green domain. That's where it gets more dangerous from here, she warns. Lady Light bows and says, Thank you once again, dear. We'll find the tram and go from there. Hey, Anzen, anything about the Pink Domain before I go? Celadon asks. The Pink Domain. Well, they have a very interesting culture. It's mostly city, but half of it is also pretty traditional to their early era. Celadon smiles. Oh, that sounds pretty neat. Well, thank you again, and as promised, I'll look for Kiken for you. Thank you, Celadon. Anzen smiles. Leaving Anzen back at her post, the three pressed on. As they walked, there was an uneasiness setting in. Celadon then hears something out of the ordinary. Another set of footsteps that sound like they were coming from behind. He quickly turns around and there was nobody there. Celadon, dear, we're almost to the tram, Lady Light says. He then looks next to him. There's 3 hooded figures now. Wait, was there always a third person? He says. The 3 hooded figure then runs. There was something noticeable about this hooded figure too. Their skin was completely black like a shadow. Celadon then tackles the hooded figure. Gah! Alright, you got me, Green Bean, the third hooded figure says. They unveil their hood and their entire body is pure black, with only their eyes and teeth being visible. They then get Celadon on his back and press their fingers against his neck. For a little prince, you sure do look frail. They grin. Nuilepa then kicks the figure off of Celadon, holding her sword out. Back away from him! Lady Light then manages the being with her powers, and as they disappeared, they screamed abruptly. Celadon, a little nerve-wracked, then asks, Was that a rivaling? Putting her sword back in her scabbard, Nuilepa responds, Yes. How much battle experience do you have, young heir? He thinks for a bit. I have some experience. I know how to wield a violent hacksaw. Well, if you need more experience, the next kingdom over will help you. There's a team in said kingdom known as Team Sprout, and they should be able to help you. With nary a scratch, they continue their way, looking around in case another rivaling sneaks up on them. Then, they reach a train station. It looks too modern for it to be in a forest. By the station is a blue demon. He has an eye patch, a dark blue coat, and a peg leg. He looks upon the 3 individuals with a wary but stern expression. What brings you here? He asks. Celadon clears his throat and asks, Is this the way to the Pink Domain? Yep. The tram goes in between the Green Domain and the Pink Domain. I need to head back there myself, actually. Lady Light, not wanting to surprise him, then asks, Do you have a family back there? Back at the Pink Domain? No. The way I'm going is the Blue Domain, which is next to the Pink Domain. It's where my soldiers are, and believe me, they are family to me. Understandable. Say, while we're waiting for the tram, what's your name? Celadon asks. Oh. Pretty short name, right? It is pretty short. My name is Celadon. I'm the current heir of the Green Domain. Owl smiles. You're Calhoun's son, aren't you? How'd you know? I was friends with a few of his soldiers. I used to train them. I always stop by the Green Domain to say hello and hang out with them a bit. They're retired by now. Noilopa and Lady Light notice the tram slowly coming into the station. Alright, let's get on the tram, she says. The tram door is open. The interior looks very clean and modern. Not something you expect to see in a big forest area. Celadon sits down with Lady Light and Noilopa while Al sits on the opposite bench of the tram. The chairs are soft and cozy. Like you drift off while you hear the wheels of the tram move. Celadon looks perplexed. Normally, a train has a conductor or someone who shovels coal into the engine. He then asks Al, is there no conductor? Celadon has never heard of a tram before. Al gives a chuckle. No, Celadon. A tram is usually a one-way vehicle. It goes back and forth between the two areas, so they don't need a conductor for it. It just needs someone who does maintenance on it once in a while. The tram closes its doors, and the 4 passengers were the only ones at the station. There's a screen above the window of the tram on the interior that says, Next destination, Pink Domain. Celadon then watches the trees pass by as they head to their next destination.